Hi, everyone. Hola. First of all, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. With my background in human rights law, it's been fascinating to hear all the discussions about inequality and the way to solve it. So thank you for that. I'm happy to be the last speaker on this panel because they raised all the right questions, and I want to suggest one answer. One possible answer to this problem of fake news and the problem that we have with the media. First of all, let me present myself. I'm Orit Kopel. I'm the CEO of the Jimmy Wales Foundation for Freedom of Expression, which focuses on advocating for bloggers and social media users that get persecuted by governments for speaking out their mind online. In the past year, I had the privilege of working on a new exciting project with Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia. Our project aims to solve one particular problem, which is that the news is broken. I know that we are all talking about fake news, but the problem with the news goes way beyond the fake news, as I think all the speakers before me mentioned and pointed out. The problem is that the traditional news outlets are heavily dependent on ad revenue. That's a business model that Mr. Sadiq mentioned. While being reliable, dependent on ad revenue, and the traditional news media are heavily losing the battle against the speed of social media. That creates a series of problems. First of all, the clickbait headlines followed by very poor content. I'm sure all of you saw online some list of 15 vegetables that are gonna make your life shorter. Number 7 is gonna astonish you. So you're gonna click that because you're eating vegetable and you're curious. You're scrolling down to see what number 7 is, and you're not astonished. And you end up thinking, why the hell did I waste 5 minutes of my life reading that nonsense? But while the news outlets are dependent on the clicks, so the content itself doesn't matter anymore. All they need is for you to click on the headline, and that's it. So that's one of the problems. Then you have the fast publication of unverified fact. If you know that social media is going to be the first ones to spread things, and you're traditional media, you want to be one of the first to grasp those very valuable clicks. So if years ago you would wait and verify and check, now you have the incentive of just publish as soon as possible, even if you're not completely verifying the facts beforehand. Then you have the biased reporting and the radical discourse that Mr. Sadiq mentioned. Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, all these very loud, nasty talks that the reason why it's so common today is because it sells, because people, the threshold of excitement goes up and people want to hear the most radical things, and that beyond, the business model problem, it's a moral problem, and it literally incites hatred and leads to awful outcomes like Brexit that was mentioned and Donald Trump, I guess. The last one, we have the filter bubble that brings you the biased reporting that you actually want to hear rather than the neutral news, that information that you need to learn in order to know what's really going on in the world. So you have a series of those problems that's heavily caused by, I'm trying to make it short because I know that I have a lot of time. I'm fine, okay. So you can see a movement of consumption of news by social media rather than the traditional ones of the radio and newspapers. Why is that happening? There is a loss, again, it's a problem of the egg and the chicken. People don't have faith and trust in traditional media, so they're looking for alternative sources, as was mentioned before, and they find it on social media. But social media aggravates all the problems that I mentioned, the clickbait, the radical discourse, the filter bubble. So the news is definitely broken. But don't worry, we figured out a way to fix it. So what did we do in order to fix the news? WikiTribune. So what is WikiTribune? It's an inventive news platform which evolves journalism in a way that has never been done before. It takes a wiki-style group of volunteers with high professional journalists in an effort to create a collaborative news space, a high-quality news platform that is genuinely community-controlled and has the backbone of professional journalism. The way it starts fixing the news is by its unique business model. As Jimmy always says, I build my career over a series of good ideas and bad business decisions. So we launch with no ads and no paywall. It means that every single person have full access to read all the news articles on our website. Moreover, every community member of WikiTribune has the permission to initiate, fact-check, verify, and improve all the articles. Just as much as you have in Wikipedia, that everyone can edit the website. We fully rely on a voluntary subscription model, where people who believe in our vision choose to monthly subscribe and support our effort to create better journalism. The fact that we open our platform and we have the backbone of professional journalism, in fact, brings something new to the workspace of journalism and has the unique added value of each one of the groups which we attend as equals. So the journalists obviously have their own professional background, which has better access to sources. They have the professional experience to tell stories and the dedicated time, which means that if there's a fire in Grenfell Tower in London, we can actually send our journalists to cover the story. We can't do that with our volunteers, they're just volunteering. On the other hand, the community has the added value of, first of all, the wisdom of the masses. It also has the numbers and the geographical distribution. We're going to have community members all over the world adding their added value, which adds to the diversity as well. That's another problem in traditional media, that you have mainly the output of a Western look of most of the journalists in the West. We're going to have people from different backgrounds bringing their own point of view and adding to the neutrality. Our main values of WikiTribune are, first of all, transparency. It means that if we publish an interview, for instance, we're going to add the recording of the interview at the end of the article. We're going to bring the transcripts, so our community members will be able to listen to the full interview if they want, and then say, you know what, you quoted him saying that and that, but in that context, it actually means something else, and improve the articles, make them more accurate, have more eyes going through each article to make it better and more evidence-based. Another value we have is neutrality. The community, as I mentioned, all the diversity and different backgrounds, we're going to have a talk page as much as we have in Wikipedia. Do you know the talk page on Wikipedia? On every entry you have a discussion part of it, where people trying to deliberate and make the article more neutral. Each one brings its own point of view and thinking of how to make it more neutral. I studied, beyond law, studied communication and journalism, and the one conclusion that I learned was that there isn't such a thing as completely unbiased news reporting, because every factor of storytelling is biased. The language you use, the terminology, the fact that it's in English or in any other language is biased. But when we are going to have big community of volunteers improving and changing and adding to the neutrality, you can strive for more neutrality. It's a model that can actually increase that. I have 2 minutes, so I'm going to quickly say reliability and originality. So we can't really compete with the New York Times. We currently have 10 journalists. But what we want to do is bring different angles that are not covered by other traditional news outlets. we want to bring meaningful stories, unlike the clickbait story that I mentioned. I want people to read our articles and feel that they gain something substantial, that they actually learn something about the world. So all the factors, all of our values, hopefully gonna, with the backbone of professional journalism, hopefully is gonna bring back the trust, the lost trust in journalism. I believe that Wikipedia changed the world by bringing together people from all over the world to collaborate and share their joint knowledge. WikiTribune hopefully gonna change and improve the world of journalism by integrating the community in the process of creating the news. Thank you very much for listening.